This episode of the Worship Together podcast is presented by Planning Center. Planning Center Services is the all-in-one way to manage your church service.
I will lift my hands up. I will raise my voice high. I will shout out your love till the day that I die.
On this week's podcast, I caught up with Travis Cottrell. Maybe some tips or advice on if I'm a worship pastor in that context, and I feel the value in this. I feel like, man, there's God is wanting us to embrace something larger, for our team here and present something a little different in worship. Where do I even start?
I got three things here. Like, as you were saying that, I was like, I got three things here. I don't mean to sound like a preacher. They're not alliterated.
Sounds like
so
we
don't
prepared this in advance.
Right, and it's not. Here's the first thing. Number one, you're never stepping in concrete. And what I mean by that is, and I tell my kids this when they're making decisions about their life, whether it's what they want to major in or where they're going to college, sometimes we feel like every decision we make, we're going to be stuck forever. And it's just not true.
Wow.
When you set out to chart a course for your worship, if you're in a church plant or whatever, don't be afraid that once you make a decision, you've made it forever, because you haven't. And so sometimes you just have to step forward in faith and go, okay, God, I feel like you're wanting me to engage in a choir. Let's give it a try. Or maybe you've said, we're not having a choir, but you're kind of feeling this thing. Don't be afraid. You didn't step in concrete the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Your feet can move. Move into new areas and don't be afraid to walk where, God is leading you.
That's good.
It's okay to change course. I mean, that's what we do. We have to be a little bit light on our feet. We do it in the context of our worship sets where we hear God saying, sing this again, or go here, or abandon your set list and don't worry about the pro-presenter people who are going to freak out. Sometimes you just got to do it. We're not stepping in concrete. We've got to be ready to move when God says move. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is drop the pretense. There's a lot of pretense that comes with the idea of choir, that you have to have a certain formality or a certain this or a certain that. Drop all of that. These are worship leaders gathering to worship, and start there. And don't worry about, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. Don't worry about that. We got you. That's my third thing. But just drop the pretense of choir and gather authentically to worship. That's at the root of what a great choir does. The third thing is kind of where I was just leaning to. Don't worry about what you don't have to bring to the table.
Wow.
Whether it's, I don't read music, or I don't even know where to start, or I don't have the instrumentation. I think that's where the kingdom of God, through people like our company, come in and they meet you wherever you are, at whatever level. If you don't read music, okay, well, we got things to help you get through a rehearsal. If you do read music, okay, well, we've got this for you. If you have a band that looks like this but not like this, we have it so that it will fit you wherever your level or your needs are. So don't worry about what you don't bring to the table, because you can still do it. People say it all the time, and I've preached it for years, that God, what's that old adage? God won't lead you where he won't provide for you.
Right.
And that's the truth, that if he's going to call you there, don't worry about what you don't bring. He'll take care of that. Open your mind, open your heart, and use the brain God gave you, and walk in faith, and you'll be able to do it.
I will lift my hands up. I will raise my voice high. I will shout out your love till the day that I die. Everything that
You can listen to this full interview and all of our Worship Together podcast episodes on Apple Podcast and everywhere podcasts are found.